Well, I have to call you out, Jody, because I pitched this to you. I said, "Do you know anybody famous?" And Jody goes, "Well, I know one of the guys on the cast of Red Dwarf." And I said, "Oh, great, that's one step lower than the Darth Vader guy, great." But I said maybe in the UK people know what Red Dwarf is, but there's 27 people in America that watch that show. So anyway, but I was everyone knows somebody like that. Like they have well, I know this guy who used to deliver milk for Brad Pitt, but it's always just not quite Brad Pitt,
Well, I did actually record a podcast show with Dean Hagland, who played Langley in The X-Files last November.
Wow.
I know. So you're impressed, aren't you? I can tell.
Not really, but I'll pretend that I am. Yeah, no, that's
I'm like 1 degree away from David Duchovny here. Don't smash my dreams to smithereens.
Yeah, he's a man of my dreams as well. So yeah, I would he would be a get. He would be a big get, but so far nobody seems to know him that I know. So anyway,
well, maybe I'll use my little connections and see if I can get you anything. But,
yeah, it'd be great.
If you manage to get Bradley Cooper, just send him in my direction.
Yeah, he's in like every third movie now too. So
yeah, I know he's great. I've loved him since his Alias days. But anyway, we're best to not get distracted by Bradley Cooper. But Bradley, if you are listening, love to have you on the show. Please, get in touch. So anyway,
he's not listening.
How do you know that?
I'm clear that he's not listening to American Dream Team, but who knows? Maybe his. Who knows? You know what? I don't follow his daily life anymore. So
anymore.
And that was the first part of our interview with DJP, as we've affectionately nicknamed him. It's much easier to say. There we go.
Not to get him confused with his granddad or his... DJP3, we wouldn't want to get him confused with his granddad or his father, would we?
Exactly, DJP3. The song we're about to play now, we are playing because I think it's pretty high up on the American charts, and we're all big fans of it here in the studio. So here is We Are Young by Fun.
By the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight.
And welcome back to the American Dream Team here on Sign 107.3 FM. We are back with the second part of our interview with DJP. So here it is.
Okay, so let's go back to DELFIN anyway. As well as being a star blogger and writer, you also play rhythm guitar and background and harmony vocals in a band called The Numbers.
I do.
How long have you been performing with them?
Gosh, probably about a year and a half. Actually coming up on 2 years here in sort of the summer. And in fact, we just played this weekend, and I'm just getting too old. I don't even mean that as a joke. Like, I'm literally getting too old. I'm not that old. I'm 35, but the idea...
You're very, very young.
Yeah, well, yeah. But, I mean, I don't drink, so I don't hang out in bars. And, of course, you're playing clubs and bars. And it's just, I didn't get home until about 1, maybe 1:30 on Saturday morning. And from our show on Friday night, and it just screws up my whole weekend. Like I just don't have the physical, the ability to recover as fast as I used to. And even though I don't drink, I mean, there's not even any smoking in the bars here. So you come home and you should be okay. But so we play, I don't know, every couple of weeks or maybe 2 to 3 weeks we're playing, but. Yeah, it's a bit of a commitment. In addition to my, regular day job, which I'm, committed to, and as well as the blog. And I realized, in fact, on Friday we had to show up. The problem with being in a band is you have to do all sorts of things like what they call load-in. So you have to get there 3 hours before the show starts. and you got to load all your equipment in, and then, so you had to, you're just sitting there for 3 hours before you go on, and then, you play, and then you load up and go home. But a lot of times you have to stay through all of the acts. So you might be second on a bill of 3 or 4 bands, and then you have to wait because of the way the backstage is constructed. They can't just get stuff through at any time. So it's a lot of time. That's the only issue with it. And so on Friday I realized I had these 2 hours before we were playing, and I hadn't written, and I've written every day this year. So I sat in my car and typed out an entire post on my phone, which I'd never done before, because I just have this sort of, almost obsessive compulsive need to post every day now. So, yeah, it's tough to balance all of it, but I'm doing the best I can.
So, well, do bear in mind, if you do need anybody to, load and unload for you, I am available. And, if that would make your life any easier, then, just let me know.
Yeah, if you'd like to carry around my 50-pound amp from show to show, I would really appreciate that. That is the
yeah, I don't have much upper body strength, but I'm willing to work out and pump a bit of iron. So you're living in Chicago. Were you born there?
Well, I was born here, and then my parents are from here, and then we moved down to Peoria, Illinois, which there's a song written about it, and it's sort of kind of a people know what Peoria is. That many people haven't ever visited there because there's not a whole big reason to go there. But we grew up. My sister and I grew up in Peoria with my parents, who are still there. And now that I live in Chicago, we're only 3 hours away, so I get to see them quite a bit. They come up every month or so, and so I get to still hang out. My sister's in New York, but my parents get to come up every week or every few weeks, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So what's great about living in Chicago?
Well, I remember my mom growing up said, there's really only 3 cities, and she said, the parents are very opinionated. We and as soon as you leave the room, we just dress you down. We're more than happy to point out your faults as long as you're not in front of us. But so my mom said there's 3 cities. There's New York, there's Chicago, and San Francisco. And she said those are the 3 big ones. Those are the good ones, or the best. And I think she's probably right. I've been, when I toured with the beer company, I got to see most of the states. I think there's maybe 6 I haven't visited, but those are the 3 big ones. And I happen to be born here and closest to here from where we live in Peoria. So this was a natural progression. But I live really close to the Lake Michigan, so I'm close to the beach. I ride my bike to work and right along the lake every day, and it's just a great city. And people who either live in the United States or have visited here, that's typically one of the places they stop. And so the other thing that's really great about it is it's Midwest. And for me, I relate best to people from the Midwest. There's just sort of a welcoming vibe here that I appreciate, but also inside of a big city model. So
mm-hmm.
I like it. I'd be shocked if there were too many people who moved here who kind of said, not for me, because you spent time in the United States and you were in rural Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And then that was that doesn't appeal to me at all.
No, it doesn't really appeal to me actually. But I spent a good few months there. But it is good to spend time somewhere so that you know what you don't want to do in the future.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm definitely a city girl. So, Chicago is actually one of the places I haven't been to in the States, but I would like to go. In fact, my co-host Jack Harrison is in fact going to the States next month, and he will be stopping in Chicago. Can you recommend anywhere that he should definitely see while he's there?
Yeah, there's a lot to see and do. I mean, I don't want to bore your listeners with all of that, but just go to the Magnificent Mile, which is a really impressive mile down in the city of the best shopping, as well as some really interesting landmarks, things like that. There's, Chicago just has a very, very rich history. So, just tell him to Google some things to do in Chicago, and they'll find the food also is very very good, as you probably would suspect in this sort of city, and so the food is fantastic, and we have Michelin rated restaurants and all of that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot to do here. Okay,
so Jack, look out for that magnificent mile when you're bringing me a present back. Don't forget.
Yeah, and
nice.
There's just if he wants to swing by and impress me with his his stardom of being a radio host, I'll host him for dinner or something.
Well, that sounds like a great invitation. It's a shame that I'm not over there myself, but somebody's got to stay here and run the show. So
yeah, I didn't say you were invited either. So.
Well, my hand is just hovering over the disconnect button here for this interview. So anyway, I think that's all we have time for. So it was really great talking to you and hearing about everything that you've been doing. What have you got lined up for the future, apart from obviously more blogging, I guess, and band playing and working?
But no, so what's in store for me is really just continuing to put my head down, the blinders on, and keep writing. I've had some. I'm really grateful. Some opportunities arise. I've partnered with somebody to do a regular column who's an author. I'm going to continue to write for Urban Gentleman and hopefully a few other publications. And my ultimate goal is a really modest goal. I think is to be able to pay the mortgage through my blog. So to figure out how to generate revenue, continue to increase my readership, and obviously produce quality content so that people who show up want to come back. So I don't have stars in my eyes. I'm not interested in becoming really that well known. I just want to, entertain the people who like my content. So I wish I had something more exciting to say other than, I'm just going to keep writing.
Well, for me being, an aspiring writer, I would say that's a pretty cool dream to have. So, we'll definitely be keeping up with you and your blog, and hopefully you'll come back and talk to us again soon and tell us how your crazy life is going. If you want to read up on Delphin's blog, if it's www.thoughtsfromparis.com. So, feel free to go there and sign up for that. But apart from that, thank you for chatting to us over the airwaves, Delphin, and we'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Thanks, Jody. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.